I never stood up for him. I laughed when it was easier. But when it counted most, he showed up for me. I don't think I'll ever forget that. I don't know if karma's real, but if it is, it's got a twisted sense of humor. A week ago, I nearly died. Real, like metal twisted around your bones, breath leaking out of your lungs, is this it died. And the guy who dragged me out of that wrecked car? The same guy whose name I probably haven't said out loud since 2015. Tom Whitaker. It didn't even hit me at first. I mean, when someone's pulling shards of plastic out of your shoulder and holding a jacket over your chest so you don't go into shock, it's not exactly a great time to get nostalgic. But later, in the hospital, when the firefighter came back to check on me like they sometimes do, I finally placed the face. The big eyes still kind. Still a little too much eye contact. That nervous laugh. It was like my brain was digging up something it had buried under a locker room full of Axe body spray and dumb teenage bravado. I wasn't even sure. So I just asked straight up, "Wait, did we go to Lincoln High?" And he gave me this smile that I can't stop replaying in my head. Tired, tilted, like he knew where I was going with it. "Yeah," he said. "Class of 2016. He didn't say it like a proud yearbook memory. More like a fact he'd rather forget, but can't. And whoa, man. I remembered. Not all of it. Memories funny like that, but flashes. Me and my friends sitting at one of the long lunch tables, laughing too loud at stuff that wasn't ever that funny. Tom sitting by himself, hunched over a notebook. Someone, I genuinely don't know who, giving him a nickname I won't repeat here. The one that stuck. I don't think I was ever the ringleader. I wasn't that bold. But I laughed. I laughed when other people made comments. I didn't speak up when someone tripped him walking past in the hallway. I never laid a hand on him. But I never helped him either. You tell yourself, at 17, that you're just going along with things. That being passive is harmless. That it's not really your business. But 8 years later, the guy you let be isolated and humiliated. He's the one who waded into a rain-slicked ditch, pulled your unconscious body out of a car, and stayed with you till help came. I felt sick with it. All of it. I don't know how to describe the feeling, except like I swallowed something sharp, and now it's just stuck. But here's the worst part. After the second time he visited me in the hospital, he brought me a freaking smoothie, like he didn't almost watch me bleed out. He sat down, real calm, and said, "I wasn't going to say anything, but I remember you, Matt." And my throat just closed. I tried to laugh it off, go all, "Yes, small world." But he didn't let me riff. He just stared at me for this long beat, and then said, "You didn't do the worst of it. But you were there." He didn't accuse me. He wasn't angry, even though he absolutely had every right to be. He just said it like fact. Like calling rain wet. Like the kind of truth you sit with long enough that it doesn't even make you cry anymore. And all I could say was, "I'm sorry," which landed with this thud that felt pathetic. Tom nodded. Quiet. Not dramatic at all. Just thoughtful, like he wasn't sure that was enough, but didn't want to make it worse. He told me not to beat myself up. That high school was hell for everybody in different ways. That he turned out okay. He genuinely seemed okay. But then he told me something that messed me up for days. He said, if the crash had happened 10 years ago, I don't think I would have stopped. Not in a cruel way. Not like he'd have wanted me dead. More like, he couldn't have handled saving a person who watched him suffer and never once reached out a hand. It was honest. Emotionally stripped. And I don't blame him. I think that stunned me more than anything. That he saved me anyway, knowing who I used to be. We talked for a while longer. About high school. About life since. He works in rescue now, obviously. Has a dog. Lives in this sleepy town a couple counties over. He doesn't use social media, which is why no one had seen or heard anything from him since he basically disappeared after graduation. I think he liked it that way. And me? I've been, I don't know, floating. Working for a marketing firm downtown, drinking maybe too much on weekends, going on dates that don't mean anything. I thought I had my stuff figured out. But then someone shows up in your life after nearly a decade. Not to haunt you, but to help you. And suddenly you're seeing yourself from the outside for the first time. And what you see isn't who you thought you were. I couldn't stop thinking about it after he left. The room just felt heavier, like his words were still suspended in the air somewhere. If the crash had happened 10 years ago, I don't think I would have stopped. I played that line over and over till I wore it thin. I kept trying to tell myself he was just being honest, not trying to teach me a lesson. But maybe I needed a lesson. The next day, I called out of work even though I wasn't supposed to. Told them I was still too sore to sit at a desk. which was only half a lie. My chest hurt, but worse than that, my head felt like it was splitting open. I spent the morning doom scrolling, and the afternoon staring out my window without seeing a damn thing. Around 4 p.m., I texted Tom. I almost didn't. Actually, I wrote hey and deleted it about 8 times. What do you even say to the guy whose life you once made harder without ever getting your hands dirty, and who now just saved yours, literally? But eventually I sent. Would you ever want to grab a coffee? No pressure. Just, I'd like to talk. I didn't expect a response right away. But he answered 20 minutes later, short but warm. Sure. I'll be in the city Saturday. Text me a time. The weird thing is, I was nervous. Like prom date nervous. Like I had something to prove, and the version of me from back then still had his arms crossed in the back of my brain, whispering dumb jokes and jabs. We met at this little coffee shop near the park, neutral territory. He was already there when I showed up. Sitting at a corner table, hoodie sleeves pushed up, reading something on his phone. When he saw me, he smiled again with that same tired tilt. Familiar, but older now. He looked more settled in his skin. Still quiet, still holding something back, but not the beaten-down teenager I half remembered. I bought his coffee. It felt like the bare minimum. We talked about dumb stuff first, whether traffic, whether he likes his job, he does. I learned he's single. Has a sister who lives up north. Still draws sometimes, which shocked me because I didn't even know he used to. Turns out that notebook he was always attached to wasn't for homework. It was sketching. That hit weird, because I remember thinking he was one of those kids. You know, just strange, off in his own world. But maybe he wasn't weird. Maybe he was just creating something we were too shallow to understand. I could feel myself getting mad at the version of me who never asked. And then, this is going to sound dumb, but it started raining. That same hammering October rain from the night of the crash. We both looked toward the window at the same time. We didn't say anything for a second. Just listened. I cleared my throat. I've been thinking about what you said. About remembering me. About not stopping, 10 years ago. Tom nodded once. No blinking. Just patient, like he expected this. I said, I probably can't undo anything. But if I could, I would have said something back then. Or stood up. Or, I don't know, just been a better person. He looked down at his cup and grinned, just barely. That's what everyone says now. I didn't take that as shade. He wasn't throwing it at me, not specifically. But it still stung. I mean it, I said. I know I wasn't the worst, but I also had choices. I didn't make good ones. He finally looked back up. His face softened. It sucked, yeah. But honestly, it's weird. I stopped thinking about all of that a long time ago, until I saw your face in the car. There was a hesitation in his voice. Like he was still sifting through it. How fast the past can snap back into focus when life catches you in between breaths. I didn't pull you out because I forgave everyone, he said. I pulled you out because I was trained to. Because sometimes you do the right thing even if the world doesn't deserve it. And maybe, he paused, maybe I wanted to be the kind of person no one ever was for me. That cracked something open inside me I wasn't even ready to feel. You spend enough years telling yourself you weren't the bad guy, that it was all high school crap. You start believing it. But sitting across from someone who remembers exactly how it felt, and still showed up anyway, there's no more pretending. We ended up talking for nearly 2 hours. He told me some of the stuff he went through after high school. Depression. Dropped out of his first year of college. Lived with his aunt after his mom kicked him out. Eventually found a therapist who helped him get his footing. Took community college classes at night. Joined the volunteer fire department on kind of a whim, and turned out to be great at it. The craziest part? He said becoming a firefighter saved his life. And here I was, thinking I was the one who owed him everything. I drove home in silence. No music, no podcasts. Just thinking. Thinking about how people change, and how we almost never bother to check back in with the people we used to be. I got home and pulled out an old photo album from high school my mom gave me when I moved out. Most of it's just fake smiles and group shots from pep rallies. But there's one picture, yearbook candid, I think, where Tom's walking down the hall, eyes down, while me and my friends stand off to the side, laughing at something. He's in the frame, but we weren't with him. He wasn't laughing. I stared at that photo for a long time. And then I tore it out and sat with it in my lap, just holding it like a broken thing I couldn't quite make right. The weird thing about guilt is that nobody tells you what to do with it. You feel it, sure, but then what? Do you say you're sorry a million ways? Do you try to fix something that isn't fixable? Or do you just carry it like an old bruise you press on from time to time? I called my mom that night. Not for anything specific. Just needed a familiar voice, I think. She asked how I was feeling, if I was taking my meds, if I needed anything. I didn't bring up Tom. I don't know why. Maybe I wasn't ready to say his name out loud in my life yet. Maybe I didn't want him to become this story I tell. Because he's not a story to me now. He's a living, breathing consequence. And a miracle. It was a week later, 7 days since the coffee shop, when Tom texted. Hey, got a rescue drill near your area tomorrow. Want to grab lunch before I head back? I stared at it for a while. I don't remember smiling at my phone much before then. We met at a burger place. It was casual, nothing heavy. For a while, it almost felt like we were just two normal people, not bound by an awful car crash and a shared traumatic adolescence. Then he said something I wasn't expecting. Simple. Quiet. Kind of devastating. Do you ever think any of us really knew each other in high school? I blinked. What do you mean? I mean, do you think it's possible? Or were we all just afraid and pretending? I didn't have an answer. Still don't really. Because when I think back on me at 16, I see a stranger. A guy wearing jokes like armor. A guy who chose silence over empathy because it felt safer. I don't know if I even knew who I was back then. We just recycled each other's confidence until someone cracked. All I cared about back then was not being weird, I admitted. I think that's why I never spoke up. I just didn't want to join the ghosts. Tom looked at me then, really looked. Like he was measuring something in me. And it wasn't judgment, exactly. It was more like he was trying to decide if this version of me was one he could trust. He finally said, "It's wild. The only people who ever gave me hell back then were the ones trying the hardest to belong." I felt that, somewhere deep where it stung. Because the truth is, I spent 4 years trying to belong to people I barely talk to now. But Tom, this guy I'm seeing more clearly now than I ever did before, he's already shown up more for me in the last 10 days than most of my friends did all year. When we walked to our cars, he clapped me on the shoulder and said, "Take care of yourself, all right?" And I surprised myself and said, "Can I see you again sometime?" It came out awkward, mumbled, and yeah, a little vulnerable. He didn't answer right away. Just gave me that small smile again. "Yeah," he said. "I'd like that. So yeah, that's kind of it." Tom Whitaker. The invisible kid, the one we called names when we thought no one important was watching. He saved my life. And then somehow gave me a part of it back. And here's the thing I realized. Forgiveness isn't a door someone opens for you. It's a hallway you walk, sometimes alone, even when you're not sure what's at the end. Tom didn't drag me through it. He just showed me where it started. I've been trying to get in touch with a few people from high school. Nothing dramatic, just checking in. Quietly undoing knots where I can. I don't expect everybody to want to talk. That's fair. But I think Tom lit something in me, a fuse maybe, that's pushing me to look backward, not to wallow, but to understand. I'm not trying to become a saint. I don't think I could if I tried. But I don't want to be that guy anymore. The one who stood off to the side, blending into the laughter. The one who didn't ask the quiet kid about his drawings. The one who thought kindness was optional. The next time it rains, I think I'll go out and stand in it. No umbrella. Just let it soak me until I feel something clean again. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be the one who pulls someone out of the wreck next time.